Hello, everyone. Again, welcome to Managing Facilities and Events in Sports, Entertainment, and Media Business. As always, I'm your professor, Robert Romano, and in this video, we're going to talk about event budgeting. Not so much stadium and facility budgeting, but the event budgeting itself. All right. From the get, there are different stages of the budgeting process. Number one, you want to gather information. Number two, you want to forecast sales. We're going to go through each one of these. You want to project your profits and you project your losses, and you want to compare everything with the industry norms. All right, and this will help you determine your capital needs. All right, so gathering information. Where do you get your information from? The more information you have, the more insightful you can be with your projections and your estimates. So, you just can't go in blind. You just can't go in cold. You got to do some research and get as much information as you can. And this information can be collected from both internal sources and external sources. Internally, you can look at prior financial statements of different projects that your company has done. All right, you learn about what it costs to do marketing, research, and other activities. So internally, you can look at past projects. All right, well, it costs this much to do this project. I'm going to estimate it to be about the same for my project, or I'm going to increase it, or whatever. But it's a good starting point. Externally, you can look at trade publications, various industry benchmarks, and economic indicators. If interest rates have gone up, if there's high unemployment, those kind of things. You want to look at those. All right, so there's many trade publications out there that you can look at, industry benchmarks, so you can gather your information and get the information so you can start building your budget. Forecasting sales. You can look at the past 5 years of your organization's past events. Right? All right, how much are we going to sell? Well, let's see what our history has been. All right, over the past 5 years, and gather our information. You're going to analyze past sales of tickets, merchandise, sponsorships, concessions, all of that. Give you a framework, give you an estimate of where you are now. So look at the past events, look at how many tickets they sold, what the price of those tickets were, how much merchandise was sold, what your per caps on merchandise, your per caps on concessions. Per caps meaning profit we made per person per event. And forecasting sales, again, you want to gather external information, identify any threats or any opportunities. You're doing that again within your SWOT analysis. You're going to look at threats. Is it in the winter? So people less likely to come out? There's the Super Bowl going on, or is the World Series going on, or opportunities of nothing's going on. All right, you're going to do all this and check for prices, check for any changes in governments. Again, check for price increases from your suppliers. If their prices have gone up, then you're going to have to pass that increase onto your consumers. All right, so then again, look at government regulations and any changing economic conditions. Government regulations, changing economic conditions. Our illustrious president has decided to implement a bunch of tariffs, and in exchange, other countries are going to implement tariffs on us. So is this going to affect us? We don't know, but you got to look at it, figure it out. Okay. Profit and loss statements. The event budget will include revenue, what your sales projections are, and expenses, your profits and your losses. All right, expenses being a cost associated with running the event. Industry norms. Get this information, examine industry data when and where possible. Determine whether your budget is in line. All right, your profit and loss statement is in line. Knowing this information, knowing the industry norms, knowing what the industry's information is all about, helps you negotiate with your vendors. You know that at this event they sold whatever at this price. You want the same deal, kind of a thing. You get to determine your capital needs. Whether or not, once you analyze all this information, you got to determine your capital needs. Whether or not you can meet your revenue and expense projections with existing assets. All right, so can you pay for everything? If your revenues don't reach your expenses, can you pay for it? I mean, you may not want to do the project, but if you do the project, do you have the assets to pay up? All right. Again, like in the last video, financing options, private funding, bonds, donors, sponsorships, same as before. Changing gears here, revenue. Where do you get your revenue? for an event, you get for a game, tickets. Tickets is a source of revenue, or what I call gate. All right, tickets includes more than just a ticket price. I usually typically refer to it as gate. It includes parking, any per caps on the tickets, that kind of stuff. You get your revenues from sponsorships, advertisings in the stadium, merchandise, licensing agreements. Are you going to get revenue from there? F&B sales, food and beverage sales, so food and beverage per caps, media rights, another source of revenue, large source of revenue. And now media rights includes more than just television, includes radio and internet streaming. Media rights fees. You know, when you think about media rights, you got to think about how the media rights are going to be set up. Is it just rights fees, where there's going to be payment? So is ESPN going to pay just for the rights to broadcast the game, or is it going to be time buys? Is there a barter system involved, pay-per-view, or syndication? The way it's set up, the way your media rights is set up, is going to determine the revenue that you get from them. Right? You may get more from pay-per-view than you will from rights fees, and vice versa. But you're going to have to analyze that. Event operations expenses. All right, now you have your revenues. Now you got to think about your expenses. Some of your expenses are your staff, equipment, officials for the games, medical services. Now, this is from the event perspective. You're gonna have to pay for all this. All right, facility venue cost, expenses, rental agreement amount, taxes, insurance, setup, tear down. Again, all various expenses that are gonna be incurred. Security, police, utilities, administration fees, attorney's fees. You gotta pay the attorneys. We don't like not getting paid. And auxiliary facilities. If you need storage off site, if you need to have a staging areas, that kind of stuff. You're also, one of your expenses is talent. All right, talent itself. Player related costs. There's gonna be prize money, appearance fees. Also for the talent, you're gonna have to pay for transportation and accommodation. Equipment and supplies, and any other player services, food, stuff, that kind of stuff. You have to pay for, one of the other expenses is marketing and promotion. You're going to have to promote this event. You're going to have to market the event. You're going to have to develop promotion, market the event, and distribute any marketing materials. All right, you also got to think about part of your marketing. Are you going to give out giveaways? Is it going to be souvenirs? You're going to have commercials on radio, TV, that kind of thing. How are you going to market this event? Another one of your expenses is sponsorship fulfillment. All right, what I mean by that is, you got a sponsor. Who's going to pay for the signage? Who's going to pay for the booth space? Your sponsor's going to want tickets. Most of the time, free tickets. If not, maybe some discounted tickets. Any hospitality. All right, so food and beverage for them. You want to take care of them. That kind of thing. They paid a lot for the sponsorship. You need to take care of them on the back end. Same thing with guest management and hospitality. This is usually for your stakeholders. Participants, spectators, corporate sponsors, VIP guests, that kind of thing. You're going to have to pay for hospitality for them. Usually food and beverage, housing, possibly, and any non-medical assistance. Another one of your expenses is going to be the presentation itself, the event presentation, the ceremonies, medals, trophies that you give out, T-shirts, other swag that you may want to give out, gifts, awards. All this is part of your expenses when you're running an event. All right. Various types of expenses that are considered as miscellaneous: office supplies, phones, internet, storage, printing costs, and more storage. Okay. So you got to think about, you got to budget for all this. You got to put this in your profit and loss, as one of your expenses. And also, you keep a contingency. All right. You keep a reserve for overruns. Keep a reserve if there's bad weather, price increases. I usually keep a reserve, a contingency allowance, or a reserve of about 5%. Sometimes 10%, depending. But you got a budget that it's going to be about 5 or 10%. Thank you.